All right, so get ready. Because today we're diving into a world that's gotten a little bit weird
Yeah, a little bit strange.
and a lot more fleshed. We're talking
That's right.
skibidi toilet,
Oh, yeah.
that internet sensation where singing anthropomorphic toilets
Yep.
are waging war on humanity.
It's a wild
Our
thing.
listener today has a question that takes all this craziness to a whole other level. What if we added a Genghis Khan-like figure to the mix?
Yeah, it sounds absolutely bonkers, right? I mean, but that's what we're here for, right? To unpack the potential of even the wildest ideas.
Exactly.
Yep.
So for anyone out there who hasn't spiraled down the skibidi toilet rabbit hole yet,
Right.
could you give us a quick overview of what is going on in this wacky universe?
Yeah, so you've got these skibidi toilets, and they're spreading across the world like some kind of porcelain plague.
Mhm.
They've got different types. They're evolving as the series progresses, and they are not afraid to use those toilet plungers as weapons.
Yeah,
On the other side, you have humanity trying to survive and fight back. But they're not alone.
go.
They've got these allies like camera heads and speakermen,
It's wild.
which just adds to the bizarre charm of it all, right?
Yeah, it really does. It's like a fever dream you'd have after eating too much cheese pizza.
Yeah.
But somehow it works. And honestly, it's not just about toilet humor.
Yeah.
You see these themes of survival,
You do.
teamwork, and even humanity's resilience in the face of total absurdity.
Exactly. It starts off with like slapstick, but then it escalates into these intense battles
Yeah.
and these unexpected emotional moments. There's a surprising amount of depth hidden beneath the surface.
Which is what makes me think this Genghis Khan idea could actually work.
It's not as far-fetched as it sounds, right?
Right?
Think about it. Genghis Khan was a brilliant military strategist.
Uh-huh.
He was known for his organized armies and his ability to conquer vast territories.
So we're imagining like a toilet Khan
Yeah,
leading the skibidi toilet hordes with military precision.
that's the idea. What if instead of these just random attacks, the skibidi toilets become like a strategically coordinated force under the command of this toilet Khan?
Oh, wow.
They could be tunneling under cities using plumbing systems to their advantage. It's a kind of siege warfare, but with toilets.
That's strangely terrifying.
Yeah.
But wouldn't a leader like that change the whole dynamic of this series?
Hmm.
Wouldn't it make it less about wacky toilet antics and more about serious warfare?
It could, but it could also make the satire even sharper,
Okay.
right? Imagine the toilet Khan demanding all pipes be standardized to facilitate his conquests.
Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's also a pointed commentary on the push for global trade agreements. That's where the real brilliance of this idea lies. It lets us explore these complex themes through this lens of absurdity.
Okay, you've got me hooked. So let's say this toilet Khan does emerge. What kind of impact would he have on the skibidi toilet universe? Paint us a picture.
I think we'd see epic battles on a scale we've never seen before. New alliances would form, maybe even factions within the skibidi toilets themselves, right? With some rejecting the toilet Khan's rule.
Wow.
And humanity would be pushed to its limits, forced to come up with even more creative ways to fight back.
This is going way beyond spraying them with water hoses now.
Exactly. The stakes would be higher, the strategies more complex.
Yeah.
And suddenly the series becomes a commentary on how we face overwhelming forces, how we adapt, and what it means to resist in the face of the seemingly impossible.
And all of this because someone asked about throwing Genghis Khan into a universe of singing toilets.
I know, right?
But before we get too carried away with battles and strategies, let's take a step back and ask the most important question. WHY?
Okay.
Why would a toilet Khan even want to conquer humanity in the first place? What's driving him?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think exploring the toilet Khan's motivations is where things get really fascinating.
So where do we even begin? I mean, we're talking about like a giant singing toilet with delusions of grandeur. It's hard to even like wrap your head around what would make a creature like that tick.
Well, we could start with like the Genghis Khan parallels we've already kind of touched upon.
Okay.
Maybe the skibidi toilets are facing a resource shortage.
Okay.
Perhaps their porcelain world is crumbling and they need to expand to survive.
So they see the human world as their only option, like a porcelain promised land full of gleaming toilets just waiting to be conquered.
Exactly. But think about what kind of resources toilets would even need.
Right.
Maybe they need more porcelain to build their empire.
Okay.
Or maybe, and this is where the humor comes in, they're obsessed with plumbing infrastructure.
Ah.
And the human world just has the best pipes in the multiverse.
Okay, that's both ridiculous and strangely believable. But what if it goes deeper than just like basic needs? What if the toilet con has some kind of ideological motivation?
Now we're getting into the really juicy stuff. Imagine the toilet con as like a warped environmentalist. He sees humans as wasteful, polluting the world with their, well,
Right.
he's on a crusade to flush away humanity's excesses and establish a more hygienic world order.
So he's not wrong,
Yeah.
but his methods are a little extreme to say the least.
Yeah.
It's like that old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions and porcelain tiles, apparently.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's that clash of perspectives that makes him such a compelling figure.
Okay.
He's not just a mindless villain. He has a twisted yet somewhat understandable worldview.
But isn't there a danger of making him too sympathetic? I mean,
Yeah.
we're still talking about a tyrant who wants to conquer humanity.
And that's the balancing act, isn't it? We can explore his motivations, understand his perspective,
Yeah.
but ultimately his actions have consequences.
Right.
He's a force of disruption, a catalyst for chaos, and that's what drives the conflict of the series.
So we've got resource scarcity, environmental crusades. Any other potential motivations we haven't explored yet?
Well, there's always the classic power-hungry dictator angle. Maybe the toilet con is just driven by ego, by a lust for control and domination.
Yeah.
He's like a porcelain Napoleon,
Uh-huh.
flush with ambition, determined to leave his mark on the world one toilet at a time.
That definitely fits with the whole Genghis Khan vibe we're going for. But wouldn't that make him a bit predictable? Just another power-hungry villain with a porcelain throne.
Not necessarily. We
Yeah.
can add layers to that ambition. Maybe he's haunted by a past humiliation, a wrong he seeks to avenge. Or maybe he genuinely believes he's doing what's best for his people, even if his methods are ruthless.
That's a really interesting point. It makes you wonder if this toilet con could actually be like a tragic figure rather than just a villain.
Yeah.
Someone driven by a noble goal, but blinded by his own ambition and twisted by the burden of leadership.
Exactly. And that kind of complexity, that internal conflict, is what elevates a character beyond a simple archetype. It makes him relatable, even if his actions are reprehensible.
Okay, so we've got a pretty good handle on the WHY now. But this brings up another question. How would a toilet con actually go about conquering humanity? I mean, they're already struggling against the regular skibidi toilets. How would they deal with a leader who's basically a porcelain mastermind?
That's a terrifying thought. I mean, we've seen what the skibidi toilets can do in terms of just causing chaos.
Yeah,
But now we're talking about facing a strategic mastermind,
right.
like the toilet con. That takes things to a whole new level.
So we're talking about something far beyond those random toilet attacks we see in like the early videos.
Absolutely. Imagine coordinated strikes on critical infrastructure.
Okay.
Water treatment plants, sewage systems, maybe even plumbing factories.
Oh my gosh.
The toilet con could cripple entire cities just by targeting their most vulnerable points,
Wow.
bringing them to their knees without even engaging in direct combat.
That's both brilliant and terrifying. It's like he's playing a game of 4D chess, using
Wow.
the very systems we rely on against us.
And let's not forget about the psychological impact as well. Imagine the fear, the uncertainty as cities start to crumble from within,
Yeah.
their infrastructure collapsing under this relentless unseen enemy. It would create a sense of paranoia, of helplessness that could break humanity's spirit before the first shot is even fired.
But humans are resourceful, though. We've faced seemingly insurmountable odds before. Surely there would be some kind of counteroffensive, some way to fight back against this porcelain menace.
Of course. This is where we see the other side of that coin.
Okay.
The toilet con's rise would force humanity to adapt, to innovate, to come up with strategies that could counter his unique brand of warfare. We might see the development of new technologies,
Like what?
sonic weapons that disrupt their frequencies, maybe even specialized plumbing-based defenses.
So it becomes a technological arms race, a
Mhm.
battle of wits between human ingenuity and the toilet con's strategic brilliance.
Exactly. And it wouldn't just be about technology either. It would also force humanity to reevaluate its values, its priorities. Faced with this existential threat, we might see a resurgence of community of cooperation as people band together to survive.
It's almost like this whole toilet con scenario forces us to confront some deeper questions about ourselves.
Yeah.
What are we capable of when pushed to our limits? What sacrifices are we willing to make? What does it truly mean to be human in the face of such absurdity?
That's what makes this concept so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's not just about silly toilets anymore. It's about exploring these universal themes of survival resilience and the very nature of humanity.
And it all started with a listener's question about Genghis Khan and a bunch of singing toilets.
Yeah.
It's incredible how a seemingly absurd idea can lead to such insightful discussions.
Indeed. It's a testament to the power of creativity of imagination and the ability to find meaning in the most unexpected places.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one takeaway you'd leave our listeners with?
I'd say it's this. Don't be afraid to embrace the absurd. Sometimes the most outlandish ideas can lead to the most profound insights. And even in a world as wacky as the skibidi toilet universe, there's always something to learn, something to ponder, and maybe a little something to laugh about too.
Well said. And on that note, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep sharing your uncrazy ideas. You never know where they might lead. Until next time, keep diving deep.